What's up guys, my name is Ace, and finally the embargo is lifted, the reveal is here. We are going to be playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare this year. Not Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, just Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which a little bit confusing. First up, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Activision for flying me out, paying for my hotel last week to attend a reveal event so I could check out this new game at the Infinity Ward studio. Now I do want to be very clear, there's a lot of rumors going around that we were paid to attend this event. I was not paid at all to attend this event. They covered the flights and hotels, that's it. If I was paid, I would be perfectly happy to disclose that, as I would be legally required to do so, but I was not paid to attend this event. With that out of the way, let's start hopping into everything I can share with you guys today. Keeping in mind, unfortunately, I can only be sharing campaign information with you today. I know that's going to upset a lot of people, but that's just how these things go. But of course, keep in mind, a lot of the stuff I'm able to talk about for campaign will very likely carry over to multiplayer as well. And with that, we're going to hop into the first thing, and this is one of the biggest things. Call of Duty Modern Warfare essentially has a new engine. Now, of course, technically speaking, at its core, it is still using various elements from the Call of Duty engine that we've always seen. That's how essentially all video games work. But the graphics engine and the sound engine have been completely overhauled. This is by far the biggest leap we have ever seen in a Call of Duty game when it comes to engine improvements. With the demo that we saw, where we got to see a couple campaign missions, which I'll be talking about throughout this video, that demo was running on a PS4 Pro, it wasn't pre-rendered, and it looks just as good, if not better, than the current Battlefield game. Call of Duty has really stepped up their game here, and this is actually what IW Poland has been working on. Infinity Ward has a branch running in Poland, and this is what they've been working on for at least the past 3 years, maybe even longer. They have completely overhauled the engine. You guys are going to be absolutely blown away by this when you see it. I don't know exactly what they're revealing for you guys today. They didn't share everything with us as far as what they're going to be revealing and what you guys will be able to see. But you guys will be very pleasantly surprised when you see the graphical fidelity and also the sound of this game. Now, if you guys would like, I could do an entire video talking just about these engine improvements. They did a huge presentation for us going over all of the little details and things that they've added, things that they've completely reworked, and new systems that they're going to be working, like ray tracing, for instance, and also programming the speed of sound into the game so you get accurate reverberations off of things in the distance, depending on how far those objects are in the distance. So you can literally hear how far away a building is if you fire your gun, even if your eyes are closed. But I don't want to spend too long on this video talking about that just because we have so much to cover here, but that was absolutely the highlight of this campaign presentation they had for us, for me at least. So the next thing I wanted to talk about that is very exciting this time around before we start getting into the details of the campaign and what we saw, most of the key players from COD 4 and the beginning of Modern Warfare 2, they are back at Infinity Ward and they have been working on this game. So for those of you guys that don't know the history, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, those were some of the most loved Call of Duty games in the franchise, but there was a big falling out and a huge portion of those devs ended up leaving and forming Respawn. Those are the guys that have been building Titanfall for the past many years. Most of the key players are back and they have been developing this game, and you really see that in this game. So let's get into the campaign, at least the stuff that I know about so far, keeping in mind, obviously, I haven't seen the entire campaign all the way through. They shared 2 campaign missions with us, and we got to see at least pretty much the whole missions. They may have compressed a few areas here or there. But as far as setting goes, this is modern day, and it is a soft reboot. So what that means is we aren't going to be within the same storyline, but it is the same universe, and you will see some familiar characters pop up throughout the campaign. Price does make an appearance. I don't know how integral he's going to be in this campaign, but he's absolutely in the game. And we may end up seeing a few other familiar characters. I'm not 100% sure on that one. So with this, a lot of the focus appears to be on modern day terrorism. There's conflicts all over the world. We're going to see terrorist attacks in London, for instance. That is one of the campaign missions they showed us. Also, we will see gameplay within the Middle East. And very likely places like the United States, we will be seeing gameplay. Although I will say the campaign missions we saw took place in London, as well as a Middle Eastern country that was unnamed. What this also means is we're going back to that style in like the COD 4 days, where you're not one character all the way through, and you're not that super soldier just working your way through on a continuous storyline. It does jump around to different characters. You will be playing as different people within different factions, with different backgrounds to form the entire story. So getting into the first campaign mission that we saw, this one takes place in London at night, and at the beginning we see that there's a terrorist attack in London, and then you're part of a team that is sent to infiltrate this 3-story building where the suspected terrorists have been planning this. And basically what you have to do here is you have to clear that building floor by floor. It is super close quarters, super intense, and heavily reliant on night vision. Just another mention to the engine, they have done a lot when it comes to night vision. For instance, with the engine, they actually have the infrared spectrum programmed into the game, even though you can't see it unless you're using the night vision. Once you pop that, you've got true infrared rather than just like a simulated version of it where the enemies will glow with your infrared. So it's incredible the level of detail they went into this, especially on the engine side of things. They have put so much research and so much effort into creating the most realistic experience possible, and that really shows as you're going through this. There's also a lot of interactive elements within the game and the way that the AI reacts. For instance, you could shoot out lights and this will change how the AI will react to the situation. You can also very realistically shoot through cover in this, which plays a big role within this particular mission. And you'll see they've also made a lot of AI improvements to your own squad, as well as what the enemy players can do. For instance, one of the things they can do is they can hide under beds now. They don't just have the same old thing where they peek around a corner or like peek over top of some piece of cover. There are more things that they have available to them, so you really have to be on your toes when it comes to that stuff. Additionally, the animations and the behavior of those enemies, it's all unique, or at least that's what it looked like within the demo we saw. They don't look like they're just bots. They look like real people. So this particular mission is very, very intense. It's not just the typical run in there, blast away a bunch of mindless AI. You're actually going to be playing quite tactical as you go through this and using your AI, using your squad to your advantage. You have to be very careful about your targets as well, because there are innocents in there that you don't want to be killing. And it's not always obvious to you who's innocent and who is actually going for a gun. You don't know if they're going for a baby or for a gun. They might initially act like they're innocent, but then turn on you. You really have to be on your toes when it comes to that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much all there is to say about that particular mission. It looks great. It's super intense, super close quarters. They really did a good job of making it feel like you were cramped, you were in those close quarters, and you had to use those tactics in order to clear that building properly. The next mission we saw was much more intense. This one was actually a flashback to 20 years ago, and this is, I believe, to form the backstory for a rebel fighter that you will have access to play later in the campaign. And this is actually a young girl in the Middle East, and the mission basically starts out, you're in this village that is being attacked by Russian soldiers because they suspect that your village has been mounting a resistance against them. And throughout this mission, you essentially have to survive as this little girl. There's a lot of stealth elements. You will see a lot of very intense things. They do not hold back on this whatsoever. This game is going to be very controversial. A lot of leaks have been suggesting that it's going to be comparable to No Russian. And yeah, based on what we saw so far, there will be very comparable elements here. And it is intense. It is violent. And I think that's going to surprise a lot of people. It's not just 2019 intense for all the sensitive people out there. They really didn't hold back in this area. This is an intense campaign. But with this particular mission, there's a lot of stealth elements involved, and you really see the Naughty Dog influence come out here. For those of you guys that didn't know, Naughty Dog was essentially absorbed, and a lot of the Naughty Dog developers have been working on this game, and they are known for creating excellent stories like The Last of Us, for instance. You really see those elements start to come out in this. It's not just a straight linear on the rails, you have to go this way, hide in a bush at this time. There is freedom to move around your environment and different ways you can approach things in order to get to the same goal. A big thing I'll say about this mission is they did a great job of capturing the emotion of the situation. This doesn't feel like one of those things you just want to run through and get it over with. Like, you really start getting attached to the different people you encounter throughout this mission. A lot goes wrong throughout the mission. I don't want to spoil every single detail for you, but it is very intense. And this particular campaign mission got me really excited to see the rest of the story and the campaign and how it all plays out. So those are the missions we were able to see, and you guys will probably end up seeing those come out on YouTube or in demos at E3 or something like that in the future. Maybe they're even out now. Like I said, I don't know exactly what they're revealing for you today, but I was really blown away by the story and mainly blown away by the fact that they didn't hold back. You see, a lot of games are kind of adapting to the current culture of not pushing things too far and being too controversial. They definitely didn't hold back with this one. Now, a couple other things they mentioned when it comes to campaign, and this is something that I'm not entirely sure how I feel about yet. I kind of have mixed reactions to this. You can actually level up your character and build your loadouts and stuff for campaign, and that's going to be integrated with the rest of the game. So multiplayer and whatever our co-op is going to be, which I honestly don't know at this point. I really don't know what the co-op will be this year. I'm assuming something like Spec Ops, but I really don't know. It's all one level. So you can actually level yourself up in campaign, and that will end up translating to multiplayer. So I am a little bit mixed on this, but at the same time, like as a primarily multiplayer player, it doesn't really matter to me if somebody got their guns and their levels and stuff by playing campaign compared to playing multiplayer. But I guess there's also that little part of me that just doesn't really like change, and so I am a little bit hesitant at the same time. I guess one other thing I can mention about the campaign that we saw is there are quite a lot of guns. It looked like there was a pretty good variety of guns. You will actually see the real names of at least a lot of the weapons. Maybe they won't have licensing for all of them. I'm not too sure where they're going to go with that. But at least in this build of the game, you will see real names for actual guns that exist in real life, which is really good news for a lot of people. I know a lot of people have been wondering about that for a while because recently with Call of Duty, it seems like they throw that out the window and they just kind of tack a name onto an existing gun that is just completely made up. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case this time around, at least not with most of the weapons. But with that, that's pretty much everything I can think of that I can share with you guys today. I'd like to know in the comment section below, what is your initial impression of Modern Warfare so far? First off, what do you guys think about the name? I'm still a little bit confused by it. I think it's a little strange, but it works. And the title of the game really doesn't matter all that much in the end. I love the fact that they didn't hold back with this campaign and things are intense. For parts of it, I actually think they may have to adjust it before the game launches if they want to get a mature rating and not an adults only rating. Like, it's that intense. And I think that's really nice to see these days because not many games seem to be taking that sort of a risk these days. But of course, let me know what you guys are thinking so far. Are you guys excited for the campaign of this game? Or are you just sticking around waiting for that multiplayer stuff? Let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah.